Good Saturday night, Facebook and YouTube. How are you doing? I am Kendrick, the sports guy, and welcome to what we call our Saturday night sports buzz talk, where we kind of go over, talk about some of the biggest sports stories from this past week. And there's a lot to talk about. We got a lot going on. Got the NBA Finals. That's tipped off. That tipped off Wednesday. We got NFL organized team activities, aka OTAs, that's jumped off for the majority of the teams. So it's sports is we got a lot going on. We had some other not so good news in sports with a couple of NFL players when it comes to uh domestic violence. We'll kind of touch on that. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. And we got Serena Williams. I forgot to mention that. Serena Williams is taking the tennis racket off of, is bringing it back out wherever she had hung her tennis racket. She is going to make her debut in a doubles match in the next couple of weeks or so. So, there's a lot going on in sports. Again, I am Kendrick, the sports guy. If this is your first time rolling across me on your social media platforms, make sure you subscribe. If you're watching me on YouTube, to the channels, those channels are Kendrick Sports Hustle. That's SportZ, HUSTLE. That is scrolling in the ticker right below me, as well as TFG Sports Media. Doesn't cost you a dime. Subscribe to both of those sports channels. You can like and follow them both as well. On Facebook, if you are on that platform, you can also follow me on Instagram at Kendrick1969. And on TikTok, follow me at Kendrick Henderson51. And I must say, I have to say thank you to those that follow me on other platforms outside of YouTube and Facebook, more specifically TikTok, because I made a milestone today on my TikTok profile, my TikTok page. I went over 4,000 followers on my TikTok. So I want to thank all those that follow me over there, that come in and holler at your boy on the live streams, because I can say that honestly, my live streams on TikTok is on fire. The chat, the engagement, it goes down for some reason on TikTok. I can't seem to get that same engagement on Facebook and YouTube, but I ain't giving up. Your boy is still gonna work YouTube and Facebook too, like a 8-hour gig. But on TikTok, the engagement and just the back and forth is on point and on fire over there. So I just want to say thank you to those that have followed me on that platform, TikTok. I'm at over 4,000 followers, and 5,000 followers is next, and then 10,000 followers beyond on that TikTok platform. But I'm not leaving out my YouTube and my Facebook, because I still want to build these just as well. But for some reason, my TikTok, it built a whole lot faster than my Facebook and YouTube. But that's neither here nor there. I just want to say that. So again, you come in, make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Let me know where you're watching from so we can have some engagement. If you're watching me on YouTube and Facebook, I am only live right now on YouTube and Facebook. So don't be in the bushes. Get in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. We can chat it up. We're going to chat sports, but then we're going to probably veer off on some other stuff, man, because we got a whole lot of other stuff that's going on too. This P. Diddy, this P. Diddy sex tape that has been the talk of the week. That has been interesting, to say the least, I must say, with the mother of his youngest child. Daphne Joy, I believe is her name. I'm gonna touch on that a little bit. We're gonna touch on something that's kind of flying under the radar too, outside of the sports topics. Snoop and Daz and Daz Dillinger. I don't know what's going on. Those two are, I think, are related, but there's a beef brewing between Snoop and Daz. If to my hip hop fans, if you don't know who Daz Dillinger is, the Dog Pound, him and Corrupt, one of the dopest duos from Death Row back in the '90s. Well, they got a little beef brewing. I don't know what's up with that, but we're going to touch on that. I've watched a few videos on YouTube just to kind of see what the heck is going on with Snoop and Daz. And then obviously, the other talk has been Jay-Z with his performance at the Roots I think it was like a picnic or something, a music festival. I'm not sure. But Jay-Z had to do a Kendrick Lamar, had to step out and let an N-word no. I'm gonna say that. I don't like to use the N-word. I don't say that word. That ain't never been part of my vocabulary. No, I'm not gonna say that because then I would be telling the untruth. I've said it here and there, but I don't use the N-word regularly because I don't like that. I don't like for brothers us. I don't like that. But I'm not gonna go off on that tangent. But so that's that. So again, I'm just gonna see if somebody gonna comment. I want to get someone to comment. Let me know where you watch it from, so we can talk a little bit of sports. We're gonna start off, obviously, what's the most latest, what's most happening is obviously the NBA Finals we have going on between the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs. And then I just got an alert from Yahoo Sports. Three-time Olympian Simone Biles reveals she was recently hospitalized after almost dying. Yes, probably the greatest woman gymnast in U.S. gymnast in history. This alert just came through from Yahoo Sports. 7-time Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles revealed on her Instagram on today that she was hospitalized early in the week. Biles did not go into further detail, but did share, almost dying wasn't on my bingo card. Biles added that it was one of the scariest experiences of her life. She added that part of that was due to her husband, Jonathan Owens, being in Indianapolis for practices. If you don't know, Jonathan Owens is her husband. He signed a one-year deal with the Colts this offseason. Biles continued on her post that she has been resting in bed this week, but did add that she will explain the circumstances sooner or later. Biles has not indicated anything about what caused her experience. Biles earned 4 medals at the Paris Olympics in 2024. She's 29 years old, but has not ruled out competing in the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. While that is in the future, Biles will focus now on continuing to recover. She posted a story Saturday from her bed at home with the caption, "I'll be here," and with one of her dogs on either side of her. Again, that just came through on Yahoo Sports, and I definitely want to make sure the sister Simone Biles, get your rest, baby girl. Whatever that emergency is, we definitely send the peace, love, and light and prayers to you, and hope all is well. Lady T is in the house. My lady, one of my biggest supporters. How you doing, Lady T? You there? You called alive. You caught your good brother going live again Saturday. This is my Saturday night sports buzz that I do. I try to do every Saturday around 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So again, that news just came from Simone Biles. Again, hopefully, whatever it is, we thankfully that she's okay, she's resting, and speedy recovery to you, Simone Biles. So let's jump into our sports buzz for the night. Again, we're gonna kind of just wrap up on some of the hottest sports stories from the week. Got to start with the NBA Finals. New York Knicks, San Antonio Spurs rematch, the 1999 NBA Finals. Matter of fact, that was the shortened season. If you don't recall, I think that was the 50-game season of the NBA. It was a strike shortened season. And the Knicks and the Spurs met back then. So there's been a minute. Been a minute since both these teams, It's been definitely that's the last time the Knicks been in the finals. It's been a minute for them. Wasn't the last time for the Spurs, but that was the last time the Knicks made it to the finals. The Knicks now are up 2-0 with that hell of a win that they got on Friday in San Antonio. Game 3 now will shift to New York on Monday night. Again, the Knicks are up 2-0, and I would say that the Spurs now have a uphill battle to kind of make this series a series, because I think it's over. I'm not saying the Knicks is going to sweep them, but I think it's probably going to be a gentleman's sweep. I did originally say the Knicks will win this in 7, but now, man, I think the Knicks is probably going to win this thing in 5. The Knicks are the hottest team. They were the hottest team in the playoffs this whole postseason. They've only lost 2 games in the playoffs, and that was in their first playoff series versus the Hawks, which they won 4-2, and they have not lost since. I just think my observation, my thoughts on this, I just think that the experience is going to be the key. It's the key, and I think the Knicks just have a more experienced ball club. And I just think that the Spurs I think they are a great team too, with that young nucleus they got, that 3-headed monster they got down there with Victor Wembanyama and Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox and others. I think that the Spurs are going to be a team that you're going to have to deal with for the next 5 to 10 years. But I think the experience factor is really what is going to put the Knicks over the top. Miss Lady T says, yes, can't wait until Knicks sweep them up back to San Antonio. Yeah, it's definitely looking that way, Lady T. Yeah, I did say the Knicks in 7, but it's like I just think sometimes you get, the thing about when you're young and talented, like Victor Wembanyama is, Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox is a veteran. He's been in the league for a few years, but he's still on, you would consider him a young cat, but he got a little bit of experience. But he hasn't been to this spot before. He hasn't been to the NBA Finals, and that's a whole nother ball game. I just think that eventually the experience will take over. Again, when you look at the Knicks roster, none of those guys have actually been in a finals, but Karl Anthony Towns has played in the Western Conference Finals. Jalen Brunson was with the Mavericks when they were doing some things. Josh Hart, but they don't have a lot of experience as well at this level. But I just think the Knicks roster overall is just more experience. And I think that the key factor for the Knicks has been Karl Anthony Towns. Who would have thought that? Jalen Brunson, obviously Jalen Brunson is the most valuable player of that roster. And I would have to say, I got into a tit for tat with a guy that's pro Jalen Brunson, and I'm not anti Jalen Brunson. But there was a question about if Jalen Brunson wins, if they win this championship, would he be considered a top 5 New York Knick of all time? I still say I don't think he will be, but I think he's in the conversation, because when I think of the top 5 Knicks of all time, me personally speaking, it's Walt Clyde Frazier, it's Patrick Ewing, who else did I say? Willis Reed. Who else I would say? That's 3. I had the other 2. I can't remember who I had the other 2. But I think at this point, Jalen Brunson would be in that category. Oh, Mark Jackson, point guard, was the other. And so, but I think you will have to start thinking about Jalen Brunson actually maybe possibly being a top 5 Knick of all time if they win this chip. Miss Lady T says, you seen the dumb mistake hitting his teammate and back with the pass. Yeah, then that's just a rookie mistake, Lady T. Again, I'm not gonna rake him over the coals for that. He's 22 years old. He didn't even play the whole season last year due to that injury that he had to miss a lot of the season. That is Victor Wembanyama. He's 22. So again, you're gonna take your lumps as a rookie. It happens. It happens. And then too, you got to remember he hasn't played these many games probably before ever in his career. That is Victor Wembanyama. But that's not. I'm not making excuses for the Spurs because I'm not going to make light of what the Knicks have done on this run. You know, they've balled out. Hell, they swept the Sixers. You know, and who would have thought that? They've been sweeping people. They need to get, that is the Knicks. They need to get an endorsement deal with a broom company because they've been sweeping people. That is the Knicks. And again, so I definitely not gonna, get throwing no shade at them. And the Knicks have been wanting and have been yearning for a championship for 53 years. Oh, I know who my other Knick was, Bernard King. My top 5 Knicks of all time. Bernard King, Walt Clyde Frazier, Patrick Ewing, Mark Jackson. Tori Williams says still. Lady T says still very young. But you're right. He's going to be a beast as the time goes on. Yeah. And as long as they can keep that team together. I think the one thing about Wembanyama is he's going to get a little bit of weight on him. Not a whole lot, because this league, the NBA now, you ain't got to bang around in the paint like you used to back in the day. But I think he needs to get a little bit of weight on him. But what he can do on the offensive side of the ball is phenomenal at 7'4". I don't think we've seen, the only guy that I could say we've seen somewhat for me that could kind of do what Victor Wembanyama could do, but he wasn't that great. He wasn't an outside shooter like that. Was Ralph Sampson. When you talk about a 7'4" guy that was athletic, that could defend, that could block shots, that has some moves, that can handle the rock. I think Victor Wembanyama reminds me of a Ralph Sampson. Minus Ralph Sampson wasn't a three-point shooter. Obviously, he wasn't a great outside shooter because that wasn't what he was asked to do back in his day. They wanted them guys to get on that block and bang in the paint, I should say. So that's where we are with the NBA Finals. Again, the Knicks are up 2-0. Game 3 is in New York City at Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball, on Monday night. And I think the Spurs are probably going to find a way to win Game 3, but I just think that's just a prolongment of the inevitable. I think the Knicks are going to win this series. Again, shout out to Mike Brown, head coach of the Knicks. A lot of people hadn't talked about, the job he's done coming in after the fire Tom Thibodeau and kind of, letting these guys do their thing. And his thing. Lady T says, I like the young guy Victor, but I am he's giving it to the Knicks. But I want to give a shout out to Mike Brown because I think Mike Brown is a pretty good coach. Is he a Hall of Fame coach? I wouldn't say that, but I think he's done a hell of a job. I think he got the shaft in Sacramento, being fired from them after being a coach of the year 2 years prior to his firing. I think he had Sacramento on the up, going back up on the upside. They fired him. Then he was an assistant under Steve Kerr with Golden State the last couple of years. And now he's taking over for the Knicks. He was head coach in Cleveland, as well as the Lakers, which I think that Lakers, when he was there, that was a tough job to take, considering where they were at that point as far as Mike Brown. So I'm happy to see Mike Brown having some success. Lady T says, miss them days of banging at the rim with the bad boys of Detroit and those Celtics. Not all the flopping that they do now. I like when they went at it. A lot of people feel the same way, including me. But again, I'm not that old guy that's on the lawn that's going to be like, young fella, get off my lawn. I get it. Time it changes. Times you got to move with the changes. Athletes change. The way the game is played changes, and you just have to adapt. I'm not gonna say I like the way what the NBA looks like now. I don't. I don't like, the. It's really not, the fundamentals aren't like they used to be. The refs, the officiating is suspect. They let them get away with a lot of traveling and carrying and all that. But again, I still think they are talented players, a whole lot of talented players in the NBA at this time. One of my favorite players to watch. He's my only favorite. Well, there's three, but he's definitely my favorite one is Anthony Edwards. That's my favorite player to watch. Point blank. I think he's one of the most talented cats that I've ever seen. When you talk about putting that ball in the hoop and just all around game, he has an explosiveness that I hadn't seen, me personally, that I hadn't seen since MJ and Kobe and Vince Carter. So that's why I like watching Anthony Edwards. I like watching Ja Morant when he ain't wilding out. But it's been a minute. He been wilding out too much for me. I like watching him though. I like watching that young fella. I like watching Luka Doncic, believe it or not. I like watching him and Kyrie Irving. Those are the four players that I really like watching when they play. I like their games. So that's where we are again, NBA Finals. The Knicks up 2-0. But there was some controversy that I got to talk about with the NBA Finals, and it happened in Game 1, if I must say. It was during, I want to say it was during the second quarter. There was a commercial break. ESPN went to show the legendary point guard for the San Antonio Spurs, Tony Partker, and an image from the 2003 NBA championship when the Spurs won. Well, instead of using the authentic image of that you see here, that you're watching, if you're watching me on YouTube and Facebook, the actual image is up top, but ESPN decided to go with an AI image, the one below. And fans picked up on it real quick, and the social media backlash was fast and furious, like the movies. And it got me to thinking, man, is this where we are now? And I know AI ain't going nowhere. If you don't know what AI, I'm not talking about Allen Iverson. I'm talking about artificial intelligence. I know that AI isn't going anywhere. No time soon. But I have a problem with media organizations using these for creative purposes when you actually have the actual authentic photo or video that you can use. And man, let's just say ESPN, the fans went in. Lady T says they need to make it affordable for families to be able to go to a game. You're not going to any finals game unless you wealthy prices so high. Yeah, NBA and NFL prices for families is expensive. Baseball is the only one that keeps it reasonable for families, where you can take your families. But my thing on this AI situation is, I think as a reputable media organization, news, sports, whatever you are, you got to be careful with this AI. Again, I know as a creative tool, it can work. Believe me, I get it. But when you're trying to pass off something that's authentic, something that has that is a sports moment, and you manipulate that photo or video, that's not cool. That's you're lying to your audience, and you're insulting their intelligence. As you can see, that ESPN's AI image of Tony Parker looks nothing like him. Like, what the hell are they doing? What is this? Who hell is that? he don't even like he could be his twin. He doesn't look like him at all. And so, you know, my thoughts on it, I don't like this. ESPN did will respond to Front Office Sports and say, yes, we did use an AI image of Tony Parker during that game one. And they also use an AI manipulated a photo of the late great Bill Russell, a photo from the 1960 NBA Finals that they manipulated as well. It's originally is black and white. We all know that in 1960 they made a color and it looked a little bit different. So my thoughts on this: do not. You're crossing the line now, because what happens is we live in a social media world now where people share everything, whatever it comes across their timeline or in their feed. They don't do their due diligence. They don't question if it's authentic or not, whether it be a photo, a video, what it may be, and they shared it. So then it gets shared 50 to 60, 70, 80, 100 times, and now you got this basically what I call a lie that's all over the internet. And that actually hurts your reputation as an organization if you want to be the one that reports news, sports, facts, or photos or video. And I don't like that, because now you have us as consumers, as content creators. Now you got a question. Okay, is this actual photo AI or is it for real? Is this video actually AI or is it for real? Now I got to do my due diligence, which I don't have no problem with. But most of the people that's on social media, they're not getting ready to go search and make sure that what they're sharing is correct, whether it be information or a photo or a video. They're not getting ready to take the time. They like, oh damn, this cool. Oh, I'm gonna share. Oh yeah, I gotta share this. Check this out. And unbeknownst to them, that they probably sharing an image that's been manipulated and that's not authentic. And you know, I had an issue with this about a month or two ago. I was on a social media platform and I ran across this video of the Portland Trailblazers and ironically the San Antonio Spurs. And this video showed a Portland Trailblazer player punching Stephon Castle, San Antonio Spurs guard. But once I watched the video all the way through, you see Castle from behind. You see the name on his jersey, and it says Castle, Castle. But once the punch happens and he starts falling, or the alleged punch, his name changes to Castile. I'm like, oh, this ain't no real video. This is fake. And so the content creator did a commentary on it, and he was talking about it like it really happened. And believe me, there was no breaking news or nothing on none of the reputable networks that said that a Portland Trailblazer punched Stephon Castle. I couldn't find that info anywhere. So there's this content creator that was commentating on this video, and I called him out on it. I said, "Hey man, this video ain't legit. We would have been had all kind of news alerts, and we had some pleasantries. I actually no, we didn't. He came at me and I went at him. But which I ain't tripping on that. I don't follow him, but I just was like, yo, bro, this video isn't legit. But the part that I didn't like is looking at the views count on it. On that commentary, on that fake video, he had right at 1 million views. So what that tells me that a lot of people viewed that video and probably shared it and shared a video that was not authentic. So that's the world we live in now in social media. You really have to double check, cross your, dot your I's, cross your T's, do a little bit of research to make sure something that crosses your timeline that maybe catches your eye, whether it be video or a photo or even information, you got to make sure you go to a reputable source and check it to make sure that you're not sharing something that isn't authentic. So that's what we had with this deal right here with Tony Parker. And where do we go from here? I think this is where we are. I think now, all everything is green lighted now on social media. Oh, I think I think I seen some app where you can post a picture, you can post a still photo of you and put it in this app, and then they can create some video of you like doing the sea walk. Man, yeah. So it's a lot of things, man, out here now that you gotta definitely be on your P's and Q's and don't fall for the okie doke, as I say. So again, ESPN did fess up and say, we did create that AI, that AI video, that AI image of Tony Parker. And they didn't seem to didn't feel some type of way about it. They was like cool with it. Like again, I say I don't like that. I think it's deceptive, and it's putting misinformation out here that we already have a whole lot of that going on anyway on the internet, and so now we got to add this to the mix. So, uh, my thing is I don't know where we can go from here. Lady T says I did that, and our brother Lee told me it was AI, but it was a real good one, but fake story. Crazy, yeah, yeah, fake story. Yeah. And see, this just gives ammunition to that guy that lives in the White House right now. His favorite term is fake news. And unfortunately, now you really have to say that some of this stuff that comes across the social media, it possibly is fake news. So there you have that. But again, I'm gonna keep you on top of that. Again, that's just my take on it. I'd like to know yours. What you think about AI? Is it harmful? Is it a good tool? Is it a bad tool? And where do you see it being going when it comes to sports? Sports, some of the greatest sports moments and sports athletes. I will like to know your thoughts on that. Make sure you holler at me in the comments. So now we're gonna move on to our NFL news. Oh, what the heck? Hold on, guys. I'm still here. I don't know what the heck. What the heck happened? Okay, that's crazy. Okay, all right. I don't know. I'm back. we got some people that don't like me talking about artificial intelligence. I guess they decided to take over my doggone live stream. Y'all better get the hell up out of here. All right, that was weird. AI. Oh, now I'm scared. AI, you done scared me. Oh, now I can't do my live streams. You better get the hell up on out of here. We don't play that over here. How about that? That was weird. Boy, I ain't never had nothing like that happen before. Anyway, we're gonna move on to our NFL news and notes. We had a lot going on this week in the NFL. Starting off with the biggest news of the week. And I gotta get my pictures back. Little Lady T laughing. Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? What the hell going on over here? Hold on. Then I lost some of my still images. I'm like, what the heck? Man, y'all better quit messing with me. Y'all better quit messing with me for real. We're gonna talk about Michael, but that ain't what I'm trying to talk about right now. Yeah, you just never know what you're gonna get with these doggone with your computers. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. But we're talking about NFL news and notes this week, and so the biggest news was coming out of Cleveland, where the Cleveland Browns they traded their defensive player of the year. Matter of fact, two-time defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett, was traded to the LA Rams for what, 3 draft picks, I believe. Yeah. And that was a shocker. That came out of nowhere. Now I knew there were stories 2 years ago that Myles Garrett wanted out. And the Browns decided to pull the trigger. Again, the Browns traded him earlier in the week to the Los Angeles Rams for Jared Verse, the defensive end / edge rusher, for 3 draft picks to the Browns. So a lot of people was wondering, like, who won this trade, or what would you give a grade for on these teams when you talk about this Myles Garrett to the Rams for Jared Verse and some draft picks? I give both teams an A, me personally, and I said that in the segment I produced, because I think both teams got what they wanted. I think the Rams was looking to add a defensive star that could get at the quarterback, to add to their defense that they've upgraded over the offseason. They've signed a couple of cornerbacks from Kansas City. They added Trent McDuffie as well as Jalen Watson. And so they wanted to upgrade their defense. And they got a guy that we all know, Myles Garrett. He can get at the quarterback, man. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He has 125 and a half sacks since he was drafted in 2017. That's first in the NFL. He has 413 quarterback pressures. That's first in the NFL. He has 239 quarterback hits. That's second in the NFL. And he had 149 tackle for losses. That was first in the league last season, and 23 forced fumbles. That was third in the league. So we all know what Myles Garrett brings to the table, i.e. a Texas boy. He's straight out of Texas, straight out of Arlington, played at Arlington Lamar. You already know that. I believe at Texas A&M. Lady T said he was not happy. Hope he will be now. Nothing like going to a job you don't want to be there. Good trade. Yeah. So again, the Rams are all in. They like, damn the future. It's about what can we get now, and I get it. It's about trying to get rolling the dice and going all in now. They had just signed Matthew Stafford to an extension a couple of weeks ago, so they know they got him for another 2 years at least. And they drafted Ty Simpson out of Alabama with the 13th pick in the first round, so they know that at least they're gonna have Matthew Stafford around for the next 2 years. That can actually tutor Ty Simpson. You get Garrett, you get Myles Garrett. Then now there's been rumblings that Aaron Donald may be looking to come out of retirement to come back to the Rams. So listen, when you're talking about the NFC and the way it stacks up now, on paper, again, at the end of the day, it ain't everybody looks good on paper, but it don't matter until you strap it up, you get in between them white lines. But the Rams, they've made some moves that say, look, we going all in, and we trying to get this Super Bowl 61, which, by the way, is going to be played in SoFi Stadium again, which is the last time the Rams won back in 2021, which is SoFi Stadium. Super Bowl 61 will be there on Valentine's Day, February 14th. And I think Matthew Stafford will be 38 by that time, or 39. I think his born day is February 7th. I think he would be turning 38 or 39. So the Rams did their thing. I get it. They also reworked his contract. That is Myles Garrett, because he had signed a 4-year, $160 million extension with the Browns 2 years ago, and so they reworked that as well. So the Rams did what they had to do. As far as the Browns, I think they get an A too. Listen, Jared Verse ain't no lunch meat. Jared Verse can get after the quarterback. 25-year-old, he's a young cat. He's got a motor too. So the Browns, and they got some draft picks. So they looking to rework their roster as well, and rebuild. And so I get it. Andrew Berry, the GM for the Cleveland Browns, they got a plan. So I think both teams got what they wanted, and so I don't think either team lost. I think both teams won this trade, in my opinion. So the Cleveland Browns still got to figure out what their quarterback situation is going to be. Is it going to be Shadur Sanders, or is it going to be Deshaun Watson, or is it going to be Dylan Gabriel? And speaking of Dylan Gabriel, there was something posted earlier in the week. Speaking of the trade, Dylan Gabriel, if y'all don't know, wears number 8. Jared Verse also wears number 8, who's now a Cleveland Brown, who was part of the Myles Garrett trade. Where there was a graphic posted, Dylan Gabriel allegedly was speaking about he thought he was going to be able to sell his jersey, which he wears number 8, to Jared Verse. And according to the graphic, that Jared Verse came out in OTAs and already had number 8 on. So basically, Jared Verse Debo Dylan Gabriel's number 8. That's my understanding. Now I don't know if that happened like that, but it probably did. And the young fella Dylan Gabriel, now our player. No, Jared Verse wasn't gonna give you he wasn't gonna give you no money for number 8. He just gonna say, "Hey, young fella, give me that." Jared Verse just came into the locker room, walked up to Dylan Gabriel and said, "Hey, young fella, give me that." He done took his damn number 8 jersey. Dylan Gabriel thought he was gonna make a bag off of it, selling it to him. Jared Verse said, "Nah, player, you gonna come up off that number 8." So again, that ain't verified. I just happened to see that. Matter of fact, my good brother that I work with, Tristan, he shared that graphic with me, and all I could think of was Debo from Friday when he told Red, "Give me your chain." he the Debo'd him. So I don't know if that actually happened, but the thought of it happening is pretty funny. So there you have it. So again, I think the Browns. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? I think, me personally, I think it should be Shadur. You have a reporter in that market, Mary Kay Cabot. She's been, for some reason, cheerleading for Deshaun Watson. And there's no shade at Deshaun Watson, but I don't know why. He hasn't been healthy. He hadn't played in 2 years. So why in the hell should he be the starting quarterback? The Browns signed him to that crazy contract, and they still eating that. But at the end of the day, I don't know why he should be. I think Shadur deserves to start out as number 1, as the number 1. But we'll see on that. As far as the other trade that went down that nobody was surprised about, that we already knew was coming. I think everybody was just waiting on the June 1st deadline because of salary cap. You can do different things when you do a post June 1st trade. You can divvy up the salary cap hit in 2 years if it's a post June 1st trade. So you won't have to take the brunt of the hit in the first year. You can kind of divvy it up the first year and the second year. The Eagles decided to trade disgruntled, and I don't care what nobody say. He was disgruntled. Wide receiver A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots for a draft pick. He is now reunited with his former head coach in Tennessee, Mike Vrabel. Again, I don't think that was no surprise. I think everybody knew that was going to happen. It was just waiting on the June 1st deadline. So, GM for Philly, Howie Roseman, I get it. I mean, you could tell that they were looking to move A.J. Brown because of they drafted a wide receiver, Malachi, can't remember his last name, and they traded for Dontavian Watson from our Packers, and they signed another wide receiver. So I think the handwriting was on the wall that A.J. Brown was going to be gone, and the Patriots was going to be the team that he was going to end up being traded to, and it happened. So, again, that was really no big surprise, no shocker with that. Far as some contract extensions, we had one down in ATL. Drake London got a big contract extension. I think it was 110 million overall, 3 year, 110 million overall. I can't remember the basics of it, but the Falcons signed him to an extension. Some people said, was he worth it? I think at the end of the day, it's about market, uh, what the market value is for players at certain positions, and let's be honest, the market value for wide receivers at this time, starting wide receivers that's stars, you're gonna start at 30-31 million a year. That's what the market says. And Drake London is now the third highest paid wide receiver in the NFL at 35.25 million. Matter of fact, I think it's 120 million, 130 million. I think he got extension. 100 million of that is guaranteed. I think he and Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb had the most guaranteed money of all the wide receivers. But again, Drake London now, he signed an extension, even though he had an injury riddled 2025. He missed 5 games with injuries, but he had a decent year in 2025. But his breakout year was 2024 when he caught 100 receptions for 1,271 yards and 9 TDs. So the Falcons, they've inked their lead receiver to an extension. Still got to figure out what they're gonna do at the quarterback position. They signed Tua Tagovailoa, who we know is concussion prone, to a 1 year deal. Michael Penix Jr. most likely will not be ready to start the year because of his ACL injury. So it's going to be Tua Tagovailoa, and with their new head coach Kevin Stefanski down there. So again, I ain't mad at the young fella. Drake London got his bag. Again, I always say you are worth whatever an organization is willing to pay you. I ain't even just talking about in professional sports. I'm talking about in any profession that you in, outside of that, in regular life. So I don't believe in the mantra of someone is overpaid, especially if you can negotiate your own payment. That's my logic on that. Especially athletes, especially NFL athletes. I would say this. I would definitely go to bat for them more so than any others because of the violence of their sport. I think that a lot of those athletes get underpaid, and not having guaranteed contracts is not cool. So if you can get the most guaranteed money out of your contract that you can, I'm all for that, for sure. So there you have it. Also, another wide receiver signed that got a contract extension, Christian Watson, my Packers. He got a contract extension. He was going into the 4th year of his deal. So they got him an extension. I think he's gonna make like what, 30 million per year, this and that. And I ain't mad at him getting his bag either. Only thing I have with Christian Watson is he's injury prone. I call him the Anthony Davis of the NFL. A lot of times he's gonna be on the sideline with a doggone. He's gonna be a hammy or something. So hopefully we can keep him healthy. But I ain't mad at him for getting his bag. Next up, we got to make sure. I'm talking about my Packers. If you don't know, Wisconsin-born, Texas-raised, 414, baby, from the Milltown. Got to get Tucker Kraft, get him healthy, get him paid, because he was on the tear before no pun intended, he tore his ACL last year. Got to get him back and ready, so we can be ready to go when the season starts. And staying with my Packers, I got to talk about Michael Parsons. Obviously, you know the deal. Michael tore his ACL versus the Denver Broncos last December. He had surgery on December 29th. Right now, Michael is shooting for a mid-October return. A mid-October return. And he also had something, I think he had something cleaned up and had his meniscus cleaned up too. That added some time to his comeback. So his mid-October return, will it be week 5 when the Packers host the Bears? Will it be week 6 when the Packers host them damn pesky-ass Cowboys? Or will it be week 7 at the Detroit Lions? I'm just guessing, and this is just my guess. I think he's going to make his return week 6 when my Packers host them damn Cowboys on Sunday night at Lambeau. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Again, he told local media this past week he has a strict 9-month rule to return to game action. Like I said, he tore his ACL on December 14th versus the Denver Broncos. I was watching that game. All I could do was shake my head. He had surgery on December 29th. Again, he's expected to return to practice late September. So he's already going to miss week because he's going to be on the PUP list, the physically unable to perform. So that means you got to miss a minimum of 4 games anyway. So he's going to miss the first 4 games anyway. So again, I think he's either going to make his return week 6, which is October 18th versus the Cowboys, or week 7, October 25th at the Detroit Lions. That's my I'm just guessing. Again, you all know the backstory. Cowboys, Parsons, they couldn't work nothing out. Then the big trade happened before the season started. The Cowboys traded Michael Parsons to my Packers for 2 first-round draft picks, Kenny Clark, and there you have it. Then Parsons would sign a 4-year, $186 million extension. That made him the highest paid non-quarterback at that time. Obviously, that's been Will Anderson Jr. for the Texans has exceeded that at this point. But in his 14 games with the Packers, Parsons had 12 and a half sacks, which was 7th in the NFL last season. He had 41 total tackles, 12 tackle for losses, 83 quarterback pressures, which was 1st in the league last year. He went to his 5th consecutive Pro Bowl, which he didn't play in. Obviously, he was injured. And he was a first-team All-Pro for the 3rd time in his career. So then I was live on my TikTok earlier. I had somebody, a Cowboys fan, said the Cowboys won this trade. How do you know that? And I asked him, how do you know that? How do you know the Cowboys won this trade? And I want to ask, I would admit that if I feel like the Cowboys win this trade, I would say that. But I don't think we will know that until 2 or 3 years down the line, if the Cowboys or the Packers won this trade. I think it's too early to say if the Cowboys won this trade. Obviously, they got a 1st-round pick from the Packers this season, which they used that on Malachi Lawrence, the defensive end from out of Florida. I can't remember which university out of Florida, but Malachi Lawrence, who they just signed to a 4-year guaranteed deal as well. And with our pick, obviously they picked Caleb Downs with their own number 1 pick, which was a great pick. I think the Cowboys had a hell of a draft. And then they got the Packers number 1 draft pick, 1st-round draft pick next year. So I think until we look at this 3 years down the line, I don't think you can say who won it or not. Yeah, again, the Cowboys got Kenny Clark. They also traded for Rashawn Gary. That wasn't part of the Parsons deal, but that's just something else. So I don't, everybody want to jump on when somebody makes trades. Well, I think this team won the trade. Well, hell, the damn thing just happened. How do you know who won the trade? Hell, the Cowboys didn't even make the playoffs. We did. So if you want to say who won the trade, even though we lost in the 1st round, hell, I would say the Packers won it. If you want to talk about wins and losses. Now, if you're talking about players and building your team for the future, we don't know who won this trade until 2 or 3 years down the line. That's why I always go with facts over emotions. Because a lot of fans go with emotions over facts. I don't get involved in emotions when I'm talking sports. Sometimes I do. I'm not gonna lie and say I don't. Sometimes I do, but I always try to keep it factual. So factually, we don't know who won this trade, And we won't know until probably 2028. And there may not be a winner. They may both break even. How's that? So that's just my thoughts on that. So we'll see what Michael Parsons going on. Hopefully, I think he's going to be fine. Coming back, he'll be all right. Got Josh Jacobs, our running back, dealing with that domestic violence situation. Don't know if the district attorney in Brown County in Wisconsin is going to have enough evidence to go forward with charges. We do know that Josh Jacobs has been at OTAs, and so we'll see what happens with that. I'm just ready for the NFL season to kick off, and we're gonna go. We're gonna see again. I'm picking my Packers. Right now you're always gonna feel good about your team. I think we're gonna do this. We're gonna do our thing in this NFC North. I think the Bears. That's the team we got to knock off their pedestal. Speaking of the Bears, looks like they may be having a new home stadium in the next couple of years, and it won't be in Chicago. It's looking like it's going to be Hammond, Indiana. But again, that's a couple of years down the road. But it looks like I would hate. I'll be honest with you. I would hate to see the Bears, Chicago, not play in Chicago. I just think because of the history, this is one of the charter teams in the league. For them not playing in Chicago, it's going to be kind of crazy. But I also understand it's about dollars. It's about who's going to give you what you want. And the Bears family, the owners, they want a new stadium. And it ain't happening in the city of Chicago. So we'll keep you abreast of that, whatever happens with that as well. In my last NFL story, gotta talk about the end of an era. Russell Wilson officially made it that he's hanging it up. He officially retired on this past Wednesday. He made that announcement on his social media platform, X, formerly known as Twitter. Wilson retires after 14 seasons. He went to 2 Super Bowls, won one of them. He was a Super Bowl 48 champ, 2-time NFC champion, 2020 Walter Payton Man of the Year. Again, like I said, 10-time Pro Bowler. He threw for 46,966 yards in his career, which is 16th all time, 353 touchdowns. And he was the shortest starting quarterback to win the Super Bowl at 5'10", 3 5/8 inches. He was a 3rd-round pick, 75th overall by the doggone Seattle Seahawks in 2012. And he was the 6th quarterback selected in that draft and will probably be the only one going into the Hall of Fame. My question is to you, ladies and gentlemen, who's watching this, can you name the 6 quarterbacks that was chosen before Russell Wilson in 2012? I'm going to give you 2 minutes to those that's watching. Can you name the 6 quarterbacks that was chosen before Russell Wilson in 2012? Thank you, Jesus. Good luck, Mr. Sierra. Adios, amigo. Oh, Lady Chiefs. I don't know why people hate on Russell Wilson. I posted a segment and I did this on my I produced a segment and I asked, is he Hall of Fame worthy? And I'll be honest with you, most of the people that responded in the comments said no, and I don't understand why they say no. When you look at his resume, when you look at Russell Wilson's resume, and I just read it, 2-time he went to 2 Super Bowls, he won one of them, 2-time NFC champion, 10-time Pro Bowl, 2020 Walter Payton Man of the Year. He threw for damn near 50,000 yards, 46,966. 16th all time. He threw for damn near 400 touchdowns, 353 touchdowns. And you say that he's not Hall of Fame worthy? I would debate that he and Eli Manning are really neck and neck, and I think both of them are Hall of Fame worthy. Now, is he first ballot worthy? No. I don't think he will get in on the first ballot. But do I think Russell Wilson is Hall of Fame, should be in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely. If you look at his resume, and I had like Seattle Seahawks, I had a Seattle Seahawks fan said no. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. What are you not really? You understand that the Hall of Fame is about your individual accomplishments, right? That's what any Hall of Fame is about. It's about your individual accomplishments. If you look at what he's done, that if you look at this graphic that I got posted, obviously his last 4 or 5 years was subpar. He was a journeyman at that point. He had a pretty decent year his last year in Denver and his only year in Pittsburgh. Obviously, his Giants, that was a disaster. But if you look at his resume in totality, he's a Hall of Famer. Not a first ballot, but when his 5 years are up, will he be on the roster? Yeah, but he won't get in just like Eli. So I don't understand why people don't think this man is Hall of Fame worthy. Honestly, after he really started having a bunch of kids with his wife, family became his priority, which is not wrong, but he had to go as a Bronco. And that's fine. I get that, Lady T, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about his resume on the field, what I just read. Super Bowl champ, went to 2 Super Bowls, probably should have won 2 of them. That wasn't on him. That they changed the call. They should have ran Marshawn Lynch. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. 2-time NFC champion, 10-time Pro Bowler, 2020 Walter Payton Man of the Year, threw for damn near 50,000 yards, threw for damn near 400 touchdowns. You telling me that those numbers aren't Hall of Fame worthy? And I'm not saying you, Lady T, but I'm trying to think. I was reading the comments. I'm like, what are you not? Oh, again, I would say his last couple of years, obviously that wasn't Hall of Fame worthy, but his resume speaks for itself. But back to my question, he is going to be the only quarterback that probably get in the Hall of Fame when you think about the 6 quarterbacks that went before him in 2012. Here they are. The number 1 pick in that draft was Andrew Luck by the Colts. RG3, Robert Griffin III, was the 2nd pick in that 2012 draft. Ryan Tannehill was the 8th pick in that 2012 draft. Brandon Weeden was the 22nd pick in the first round of that 2012 draft. And Brock Osweiler was the number 57th pick in the 2nd round of that 2012 draft. So Russell Wilson, of all those quarterbacks that went ahead of him, he will be the one that should be in the Hall of Fame, considering. Lady T said, I love him too. I love Beast Mode, for sure. So that's my thing is, again, I'm not here to change nobody's mind, but again, like I just said earlier, I don't get into all the emotions, but it's about facts. And the facts is, if you're watching me right now on YouTube and Facebook, if you look at what his numbers are, his numbers say that it's Hall of Fame worthy. Again, I think his numbers are comparable to Eli Manning. The only difference is Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. And Eli Manning is probably going to be going to get in the Hall of Fame. He didn't make it on the first ballot, which I didn't think he would. But I think he will make it on the 2nd ballot. So there you have it with the NFL. And that's pretty much our sports news for tonight. I do want to kind of just give my thoughts on a couple of other stories that really isn't sports related. The one story and then Lady T can speak on this too. The one story that's really no one's talking about that I just kind of happened to roll upon. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel, Kendrick Sports Hustle. If you're watching me on YouTube, doesn't cost you a dime. And also follow me right here on Facebook at my Kendrick Sports Hustle, as well as TFG Sports Media. Make sure you subscribe to TFG Sports Media on YouTube as well. I think the one story that I just kind of happened to roll up on and I kind of been following on YouTube is this Daz Dillinger versus Snoop Dogg beef. Lady T, have you been following this? You convinced me out of them all. He was better Hall of Fame. Yes, give it to him, but it would be a few years when to give it to him. Yeah. Lady T, have you been following this, or have you even heard about this Daz Dillinger Snoop Dogg beef? And by the way, Daz and Snoop are related. They blood related, from what I just happened to roll on a couple of videos on YouTube. Daz is going at Snoop about some issues with some release of some contract issues or some release some songs. It's something that there's some business. They didn't fill out over some business issues. That's what I gather from this. Lady T says, you know, a Snoop story. But this thing, I didn't realize that there was some beef between Daz and Snoop. I watched the clip earlier today. Daz was talking about trademarking the dog pound and how Snoop Death Row, because Snoop now he was able to get Death Row. If you don't know, Snoop was able to buy Death Row and got the masters and whatever and whatnot. But the thing is about the dog pound, there's some issue about the trademarking of the dog pound, the name. And Daz went into an explanation about that I just ran across a clip today, that he was not able to trademark that back in the 90s because of the Cleveland Browns. Because they got the dog pound, which they spelled it differently, DAWG. Obviously, Nate and Daz and Corrupt spell it. Their group is DOGG, and he said that is the reason why he was not able to ever trademark the name Dog Pound, because of, according to him, the confusion. So it's never been trademarked. And then Daz will go on to say that Snoop, I guess, is tried somehow to trademark that name, and it's a whole lot of mess going on, man, with contracts and money. So I didn't realize that I didn't realize that these two were at odds, and I get it. I get it. Unfortunately, you know, when you businesses, you know, especially the music business, it can fracture relationships. And I understand. But you know, my thing is, man, you know, I don't know how old Daz is. I know Snoop is in his 50s. He's a couple of years younger than I am. My thing is, instead of these making these videos and going tit for tat and back and forth, if y'all related, why can't y'all get off this social media and talk about whatever issues y'all got and try to figure it out, man? Because at the end of the day, it really, you know, I get it when you feel like you've been slighted. Don't get me twisted. I'm not saying that Daz is wrong for feeling how he feel, and I'm not saying that Snoop isn't wrong for feeling how he feel. My only thing is, why you got to play this out on social media? You feel me? I don't get that, especially when you're in your 50s. Lady T says they family and will work it out. He owns Death Row. He knows Daz could not trademark it back then. Snoop knows that Daz came up with it. Yeah, Daz, my bad. Yeah, so I just that bothered me, real talk, because Daz is going he going in at Dre and I mean, it's like, God dang, when will this madness stop? When we too old for playing these tit for tat on social media and producing videos and just, you know, all this negative energy. And you know, the sad part about it, it's mostly dudes that's doing this that I have really peeped. And I'm like, I know women have they go at each other too, but even in the sports arena, it's the men that's just like being freaking catty. I don't understand what is this. I don't recognize this as all at all. I don't. I'll be the first to tell you, man, the way I operate. If I got an issue with you, I'm not getting ready to do no back and forth on no social media platform. If I got an issue with you, I'm gonna come see you. Or if you got an issue with me, I want you to come see me. I'm not gonna be posting videos, but I also get the other part of it too, the theatrics, the clicks and the views and the money. Because this social media game, at the end of the day, if you don't know, Lady T knows, the social media game is, at the end of the day, it's about clicks and views. So guess what people gonna gravitate toward? What they're gonna click on and view. Lady T, you already know. Negativity. They're gonna click on it straight up, point blank. If it's something negative, it's somebody, ooh, what they say about this person, what they say about what they doing, what they saying. Lady T says sometimes they hype it up on social media for attention when they have nothing coming out. Since Snoop sung for Orange Man, this camp been quiet. Yeah. But I still, it can be all orchestrated too, but I still, me being who I am, I don't operate like that. I don't. I just think, again, I get the theatrics. I get it. I get it. But you want, it's the clicks and the views and the monetization. I get it. Because I could get up on here and I can just start wilding out, Lady T. But that ain't me though. Because people know authenticity. I'm that ain't me. I could get up here and just start, being a screaming A. Smith, screaming and yelling and no, man, I'm not about that. I'm about authenticity. And I'm not saying Stephen A. Smith ain't authentic. I ain't saying Daz or Snoop ain't authentic either. I mean, we all know Stephen A. Smith been screaming since he came on the scene. I get it. That's who he is. But I do know a lot of it is theatrics too. A lot of it is theatrics. But I just it's just crazy to me to see men doing this back and forth, this chatty patty, as Dame Dash called it, on social media. And then you got content creators, they produce, that's what they live for on YouTube, that I see all the time. They only produce content that has negativity dealt with it, or it's got to be something animosity that they create. But again, then they get the views. So again, they giving the people what they want. But that ain't me. I would never do that. I would produce content on something that I think is worthwhile, that's trending, even if it has to do with a certain a media personality may be into it. I would definitely do that. But that's not my constant. That ain't how I rock and roll. Lady T says, we have enough drama going on in this country. We need more unity in the culture and the community. I concur. Well said, Lady T. But so I don't know what's going to come across with about this with this Daz and Snoop, but I hope they work it out, whatever this falling out has been. But they definitely at odds. I can tell you that from the couple of clips that I've seen, that I've been following, just to kind of get an idea of what really is going on between the two. Because I like Snoop. I wasn't happy about him with this Donald J. Trump stuff, but I generally like Snoop. I ain't counsel Snoop. I know some people have. I ain't counsel Snoop. Because my grandson, my 9-month-old grandson, he loved him some Doggy Land. And we watch Doggy Land every day that I have him. And I dig me some Doggy Land. That's one of the best products that Snoop did put out. If you I know Lady T, you don't have no little baby, but Doggy Land is on point. I pretty much know damn near every song by heart on Doggy Land. Because my grandson, Honest Kwawi, I'm gonna have him on with me pretty soon. He 9 months now. He trying to walk. I'm gonna have him on with me so we can do a duo. But I love me some Doggy Land. Yeah, again, I ain't counsel Snoop. I mean, there's only certain people I have counseled. I don't want to say I counsel them. I just don't deal with them like that. I.e. Kanye, I don't deal with him like that. I don't really deal with Nelly like that. I don't dislike Nelly, but I don't really deal with him like that. So I ain't counsel Snoop because I love me some Doggy Land because my grandson love him some Doggy Land too. So we'll be watching it tomorrow when I keep him while my daughter's at work. So it'll be on and popping, Doggy Land over here. So there you have it. So that's my thoughts on that. So hopefully Snoop and Daz can figure it out. My other non-sports topic that I'm gonna talk about, and I'm at an hour. I'm gonna go to about an hour and 30 minutes. We talked about it on TFG tonight with my good brother Brenton Haynes, who's the host, as well as my good brother Lee Black and my good sister Devin Devine. If you haven't subscribed to TFG tonight, make sure you do. Subscribe to TFG tonight on YouTube. Doesn't cost you a dime. Make sure you like and follow it as well on Facebook. This doggone P. Diddy video. Lady T says, I don't deal with Kanye now for Trump, but for him playing with God. Yeah, I don't deal with him with Trump, but more so dealing with his slavery comment. Definitely dealing him dealing with Trump. I don't, but his damn stupid slavery comment. That was when I canceled Kanye. But I was never like a rah-rah Kanye fan anyway. I think he had a couple of dope songs, but when it comes to rappers, he's not at the forefront of my thoughts as one of my favorites. Not disrespecting nobody that think he's a favorite. You know, some people has called him a genius. I think that's overboard. Kanye ain't no damn genius. I think he's somewhat talented as a producer and some rapping stuff, but he damn sure ain't no genius. But yeah, the slavery comment was the one that I definitely I distanced myself with him, and some and that's just my thing. But to each his own that like him. Yeah. But this P Diddy video that I haven't watched, that I haven't seen, with 50 Cent's mother of his youngest child, Daphne Joy, and some adult film star. Man, let me tell you, that's been the talk. That's been the talk. That's been the talk. He's not in my top 10 at all. I hear you, Lady T. My thoughts on it, again, I haven't seen the clip. I'm not gonna try to search and find for it. I know it's been posted all over the place. Well, again, we talked about this on TFG tonight on Friday night. Again, my thoughts on this, as far as the leak of this video, obviously it was planned by, I'm assuming, this adult, the adult film star. I can't remember his name, but I'm sure it was planned. But the question is, where does P Diddy go from here? Again, my thing is, I think, is this gonna hurt him? Absolutely not. And like I said on Friday night, I think that once he's released from prison, which I think is what 2028, he's probably get out earlier than that. Just depends on if he gets good behavior or whatever. You know, people were talking about the size of his manhood, this and that, whoopty whoopty woo. He's a freak, this and whoopty woo. At the end of the day, women still gonna want to smash him. That's bottom line, because at the end of the day, a man with money and power, that's attractive to most women. Not all. I want to clarify that. Not all, but most. So I think he's still gonna, women still gonna gravitate to him. My good fam is in the house. Kennard, how you doing, brother? Yeah, War Eagle. Is that what it is? Is it War Damn Eagle? You know I ain't an Auburn Tiger, so I done probably screwed it up. But man, y'all make sure y'all follow my guy, my fam too, Kennard. He's a big Auburn Tiger football. He's into it. He's kind of been chilling in the cut on his YouTube, and I'm sure he's gonna pump it back up here in a few months. But y'all make sure y'all subscribe to Kennard Vernon Stewart, Auburn Tiger. War Damn Eagle. I think that's what it is. Hopefully I got it right. But back to Diddy again. Just thinking about that whole trial, and we talked about this extensively on TFG tonight. I think what he was convicted of was kind of a sham. Now, the video of him whooping on Cassie was freaking distasteful, and I think he's a piece of human being. Let me make that perfectly clear. I still think he's a POS. That is Sean Puffy Combs. What he did to Cassie in that video that we saw in the hallway. That right there is no excuse for that for a man. But on a level of what he was doing sexually behind closed doors with people of age and with all that, I mean, that's who he is. And it's a lot of people that's like him that we will never hear about. Lady T said he's getting out sooner, but he was only convicted for Mann Act. Those chicks are waiting on him. Yeah, you're right, Lady T. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So far as this video, again, it's unfortunate. That thinking about this video that's out there, obviously, the who he was dating at the time, Daphne Joy, who was again the mother of 50 Cent's youngest child. She said that she did it because of she loved P. Diddy. So she was with it. Yeah. So I'm not because when you love a person, you will probably do some things that you may not necessarily would do normally. But at the end of the day, if a person didn't force or coerce you to do it, then you did it on your own free will. So I can't be mad at P. Diddy for his freakiness. Again, some men and some women, they freakiness is a whole nother level. Now, would I be willing? Am I into that kind of stuff? Into hell no. Hey, number one, I'm about. I don't want to share my woman with no man. So I'm not into that kind of watching my woman with another man. That ain't my style. Number one. Yeah, that ain't me. We don't. I don't get down like that. And so that's definitely that's out the boundaries for me. I would never ask a woman I was with I would want her to see her with another man. I'm like, that's some weird behavior. That's weirdo behavior to me as a man. I don't. But again, every man, every woman, they wire differently when it comes to their sexual preferences. It's unfortunate that this got leaked though, because now the young son of Daphne and 50 Cent, he will have to deal with this. He's gonna have to deal with this probably for the rest of his life, knowing that his mother was captured on video, that was released, that was all over the internet. And you know, kids can be cruel. So again, I don't know, that's the world we live in. So Lady T says, I'm not sleeping with another man so he can sit in another room and watch. Hell no. Isaac knew better to ask me some crazy stuff like that. I know Mr. Isaac did know. He knew better not to come with that, huh, Lady T? Oh, he's gonna be on the next train to Georgia, huh? Leaving on that midnight train. Ain't that what the Gladys Knight and the Pip saying? Leaving on that midnight train to Georgia. Leaving on that midnight train. Woo woo. I'm not gonna quit my day job because I damn sure can't sing. So I had to mention that, man. Like I said, we talked about that on TFG tonight with my fam, Brenton Haynes, and my good brother Lee Black, and my good sister Devin Devine. So that's gonna wrap it up for tonight. Lady T laughing at me. Yeah, I have a good speaking voice. My singing voice leaves a lot to be desired. I would say that. But again, I want to thank my one of my biggest supporters, Lady T, for popping in. Got to tell you this too, Lady T, if you missed it. I went over the 4,000 follower milestone on TikTok, and I want to thank anyone that has followed me on TikTok that'll watch this. Thank you. Continue to follow me. Bring people over there because we're on the road to 10,000 followers over there. I must say, when my lives over there, I have a lot more engagement, and that's why I tend to lean more to TikTok, because I got more engagement, I get more views, I get more followers than my Facebook or my YouTube combined. I'm not saying I'm not leaving Facebook and YouTube. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you go where you celebrate it, not tolerate it. So that's where I'm going to try to, especially when the football season pump up, I'm going to be going more lives, doing more live streams, definitely on my TikTok. I'm still going to be doing my Facebook and my YouTube, Kendrick Sports Hustle, as well as TFG Sports Media on YouTube. You can like and follow them both on Facebook as well. You can also follow me on Instagram at KDrick1969. But my engagement is so much is a lot more on TikTok for some reason. Thank you, Lady T. And so, yeah, man, that's where it goes down. Again, I went live on my TikTok at around 3:45 earlier today. I had 1,000 views. I had like 25, 30 people watching on TikTok. I never have that on Facebook and YouTube. Never. I can post the same story on Facebook and YouTube. I posted on TikTok. I get 3 times the views on TikTok than I get on Facebook and YouTube. Same story. I can post it the same time. I guarantee you I'm gonna get 3 times more viewers on TikTok than I get on Facebook and YouTube. And I know it's an algorithm thing. The only thing is it's tougher to get monetized on TikTok. That's the only difference. It's a little bit easier to get monetized on Facebook and YouTube. I'm not monetized yet on Kendrick Sports Hustle on YouTube, nor TFG Sports Media. We're close on TFG Sports Media. We're not quite there yet, but we're close on TFG Sports Media to be monetized. I'm actually monetized on my own Facebook page on Facebook. I'm monetized on there. And I'm close to being monetized on Instagram. But some reason I just can't break through on YouTube. Don't know why. But I get it. YouTube is a bigger platform, and it's got a lot. When you talk about sports, it's a lot of sports content creators on YouTube. So I get that. So, but I ain't, I'm not throwing in the towel. By no means I'm not gonna neglect it. I'm still gonna do my thing on all of the platforms. But all I'm saying is my TikTok, once the football season ramp up, I'm gonna probably be doing more lives on TikTok than and I'm gonna still do some here, but I'm gonna be more live visibly on TikTok than I am on YouTube and Facebook. So if you haven't followed me on TikTok, make sure you go do that, please. Kendrick Henderson 51 at TikTok, so we can get to 5,000 followers by the time Super Bowl 61 rolls around, February 14th, Valentine's Day. It goes down at SoFi Stadium in LA. And I believe I'm going to be at 5,000 followers and hopefully 10,000 followers by this time next year on TikTok. Those are my goals. So there you have it. So again, I'm going to get on off of here. It is what, 10 o'clock. I went an hour and a half. That's my goal. I try to go at least an hour and a half on Saturday nights. And we're gonna chill out. I'm gonna put on some YouTube and I'm gonna listen to some good old music and sit back and drink out of my Green Bay mug, GPG baby, 414 Brew City baby. Also got to give a shout out to my guy Brenton Haynes for the gift. Got me a candle. It says, "Smells like a Packers win, true grit, pure glow." Once the season starts, I'm going to light this, and it's going to be on and popping. So there you have it. So again, thank you, Lady T, for engaging with your boy. Love you to death. Love you to life. Tell Mr. Isaac I say hello. Hope he's getting better. Speedy recovery to him. You make sure you take care of yourself. And anybody that watches this later, again, you all have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy your Saturday night. Enjoy your Sunday. And we'll be right back here next Saturday, roughly around 8:30, talking about some of the hottest sports topics that happened during the week. And then following that, I will be off because my daughter, my beautiful daughter, and my oldest son, my beautiful daughter, Candace Renee, she hooked her dad up and her uncle, my baby brother, with some tickets, some round trip tickets to Washington, D.C. for Father's Day weekend. So next weekend actually is not next weekend, the weekend after. The 19th, I would be going on the 19th, which is Juneteenth. The 20th and the 21st, I would be in D.C. on Father's Day weekend, courtesy of my baby girl, Candace Renee, and my oldest son, Kendrick Jr. We're gonna be, me and my brother, my baby brother, Kaleem. We're gonna be there celebrating Father's Day. We're gonna be checking out the African American Museum and some other things. We damn sure ain't going to the White House. I could give a damn rat's ass about that because I could care less for the guy that's in there. But we damn sure gonna be at the African American Museum. So that's 2 weeks from this weekend, not next weekend, because I'll be on next weekend. But the following weekend, I'll be, if the Lord's will says the same, with me and my baby brother, we'll be in Washington, D.C. on Father's Day weekend. My daughter says, "Dad, you got to get out. We got to get you out." That's what my baby girl says. "We got to get you out, Pops." They call me Pops. Well, she calls me Pops. My oldest son, my boys call me Dad. "We got to get you out because I'm good." And they don't even know I'm good. I ain't got to be out. But I'm definitely gonna be there. Definitely gonna do the MLK thing too. Yeah. Yeah, Lady T. You know what I'm gonna do, the Lincoln Memorial, but I don't give a ish about the White House. I could care less. I'm not even thinking about that at all. It's about the African American Museum for me. So that's my biggest thing about being in DC. So like I said, the Lord say the same 2 weeks from now, that's where we'll be, my brother and I, celebrating Father's Day weekend. So again, I'm gonna get on out of here, Lady T. Love you to life. Enjoy the rest of your night. Again, if you watch this later, make sure you share this too. If you don't catch this live, share it to your social media platform. Get some views up. Watch hours. It's cool too. If you didn't catch it live, just watch the replay. I'm cool with that too. I mean, put some comments in there. I'll come back and check it out and even respond to some of the comments. So again, we'll talk to you on the flip side. We'll see you next Saturday. Again, you all have a good rest of your weekend. Have a great week. Again, I'm Kendrick, the sports guy. Peace, love, and light. I am out. Deuces.